Yo, hello guys, Future Dub here. As the title says, this is part 1 of 2 videos I'm making. For part 1, we're just going to be talking about the gameplay, level design, and music. And for part 2, I'm going to be talking about the story and how I feel about it. And the reason for it is I'm replaying the game right now with the JP translation mod. So I want to get the authentic type of story before I actually give my opinions on it. So with the intro out of the way guys, let's just get into it. Shadow Generations is a game that, when it was first announced, I was really worried about. Because in my head, I instantly thought, oh, it's just a side story game for Shadow, so it's just not going to be amazing. It's going to be a mediocre 6 out of 10 Sonic game. But once we started getting trailers from Sonic Team themselves, and on top of that, gameplay leaks and YouTubers dropping full level gameplays, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be something amazing. And now here we are, 2 months since the game dropped, and it's a solid 8 out of 10. Sonic Team really outdid themselves with this game. Now with the intro out of the way, let's get to talking about the gameplay of Shadow Generations. Shadow Generations is just like Sonic Generations, but you're playing as Shadow, so instead of having something like light speed, dash, or drift, and all that other stuff Sonic has, Shadow has his own stuff like the Chaos Powers, and instead of a homing attack, he has something called Chaos Snap. On top of that, they gave him new abilities called Doom Powers, and they're some of the coolest things I've seen in the series. They come in 5 different ways you can use them, starting off with Doom Spear is the first one you unlock. Doom Spears isn't really that important at all, it's literally just Chaos Spear, but you can shoot 5 at once. That sounds really lame, I know. The next one you unlock as you play the game is Doom Blast, and Doom Blast is really cool. It only works on black arm enemies, which sucks, but once you unlock it, it allows you to launch them in the air in any direction you want. This allows you to skip basically parts of the level, and this is the reason why the Tower 1 skip in Kingdom Valley Act 1 works. Next Doom power that you unlock with Shadow is called Doom Surf, and this one allows you to surf on top of the water. And it only doesn't just do that, it allows you to do spin attacks in the water. So whenever you do a sidestep, it becomes a spin attack, and it allows you to launch back stuff at the bosses mid-fight. Also, one neat trick to keep the speed boost you get when you first summon the Doom Surf is to keep doing the spin attack or jumping. Now we're on to the 4th Doom power you unlock after Doom Surf, and this one being the Doom Morph, or as I like to call it, the Doom Squid. This form allows Shadow to go across the corrupted looking slime things on the ground you see, and the way you get into this form is through one of these morph ball looking things. This ability is really cool because 1, it lets you climb on top of walls and everything else, so you can use it and stick to the ceiling, and 2, you get this Spider-Man like ability where you can just web onto other morph balls and launch yourself up or diagonally, matters which way you want to go. My favorite part about this ability is when you boost and jump, it keeps all the momentum of the boost, and man, you go flying. Now we're on to the Doom Wings. This is the last Doom power you unlock with Shadow, and this one is basically just Shadow's super form in this game. And it being like a super form means that you can actually break the level design. And what makes this worse than like Super Sonic in the regular games is that you can fly over everything. Yeah, the wings let you fly over everything unless you run out of the boost gauge, but you're not gonna ever run out of that because it refills every time you land. Yeah, you heard that. The boost gauge refills while you're in Doomwing form. And on top of that, it gives you endless boost when you're on the ground. This breaks the game in so many ways, it's insane. And that's all the Doom powers he has. I know it's kind of a small arsenal. I wish they added one more, because you know Shadow used to have a cool thing he used to do with a gun. He used to shoot enemies with a gun. So it would have been nice to see if he could use the Doom powers to make a gun and shoot the enemies again, you know? You guys get what I mean? Jokes aside, Doom powers are amazing. I really like how they implement them into the game. It's not like really groundbreaking unless you're the fucking Doom Wings, but other than that, amazing. I love using all of them besides Chaos Spear because that shit's useless. Now let's start talking about some actually game-breaking stuff Shadow can do. Shadow has 2 things he can do that breaks the game: Spear Gliding and Chaos Control. Spear Gliding is basically when you spam Chaos Spear in the air. And you may be thinking, Dub, what does that do for you though? What it does is it keeps all the momentum you had when you jumped off any source. So jump pad, speed boost, and all that stuff, you'll keep that momentum in the air. Here's some examples where you can use Spear Gliding in the game. Rail Canyon Act 1, you can either take the rails this way normally, or after you hit this boost pad right here, you jump off the rails and spear glide to the other side. It saves a lot of time when you use this technique. And speaking of time saves, let's talk about Chaos Control. Everybody knows how Chaos Control stops time, and it stops the in-game timer as well. This can be abused very easily. When going through a stage, you'll see some of these capsules that have some Chaos energy for you to get Chaos Control. And the cool thing about these is when you break it instantly, it fills your gauge right away. So if you break one with Chaos Spear or run into it and you hold the Chaos Control button, you'll instantly use Chaos Control. And after Chaos Control is done, there's still some energy waiting for you that's going to be sent to Shadow, and it will refill your gauge. So basically, you can get 2 Chaos Controls from 1 capsule if you do it right. And that's everything that has to do with Shadow's abilities. And I have to say, this makes the game more fun. I have fun finding out the fastest route and at the same time killing the most enemies to get chaos control. And it sounds easy to do this, but when you're actually playing, it's very hard. Sonic Team really outdid themselves with the gameplay, being able to utilize all the Shadow's arsenal in the game. It's an 8 out of 10. Now let's talk about the levels. Yo, hello guys, Dub here with a quick intermission just to say if you're enjoying the video so far, why don't you guys drop a like and sub? It would mean the world to me. Also, my Discord server is in the description. Join up if you guys want to. Now let's go right back to the video. Shadow Generations has some of the best levels I've seen in a while in a Sonic game. And I want to start off by talking about the 2D stages first because I feel like those don't get enough love. These are some of the best 2D stages we've seen in a long time. My favorite 2D stage being Sunset Heights Act 2. This is amazing, man. They have all the perfect paths for you to take. When I first played, man, I wasn't really paying attention, so I didn't notice the top path that's faster. So I stayed on the bottom one and I was just like, damn, this stage feels so long. But once I started replaying and seeing the top path and taking it, oh boy, the stage was fun. Also, near the end of the stage where they make sure you use chaos control because these robots are destroying the platforms, oh my, give it a chef kiss. That was smart. I fully believe this is the best 2.5D stage we have in any Sonic game. My next favorite one being Kingdom Valley Act 2. This is a really amazing stage. It takes advantage of making sure you know when to use chaos control correctly. Because if you don't use it at the right timings, you'll have to wait a while until chaos control is over, because these pillars won't move if time is stopped. Before this stage, I would spam chaos control the second I got it, and I really didn't pay attention other than, oh man, I stopped time, keep going. My third favorite 2D stage has to be Space Colony Arc Act 2. This one is very fun to replay. First time going through it, it was like insanely boring because I'm like, damn, all these areas have the Chaos Spear. So I just started spamming it throughout the level until I realized, oh man, I don't have to do that, and I got the timings right. And once you learn when to use Chaos Spear at the right timings, man, this stage is fun. Then we have Chaos Island Act 2 and Rail Canyon Act 2. I really don't like these stages as much as compared to the others because they push gimmicks way too far. Chaos Island Act 2 having a lot of the squid sections, which I'm like, damn, I don't like. And then we have this weird platform that came out of nowhere that you have to just control. Next, Rail Canyon Act 2. Oh man, this stage is very fun once in a while, but like, man, I didn't enjoy spamming the hell out of chaos control all the time, and the rail sections kind of got boring in 2D. That's all for the 2D stages. Let's move on to the 3D ones, because, man, they're amazing. Now let's start off with my favorite 3D stage, Chaos Island Act 1. This stage is so fun to play. This is the only stage in the game where I really don't get bored playing at all. And I don't know what it is. I think maybe I just enjoy Chaos Island from Frontier so much. Maybe that's why it's like a huge bias I have for it. But I just enjoy everything about it. The stage has so many different paths you can take. And it's not like hidden paths, it's paths in front of you, so you gotta pick and choose. And I really like that. It's not like some paths are hidden because you're speeding so fast and don't see it. You can see it clear as day from so far. My second favorite 3D stage is Space Colony Arc. This stage is amazing for an introduction stage. This stage teaches you that whenever you stop time with chaos control, nothing can really hurt you besides spikes. The missiles stop and they don't explode, so you can walk on them easily, which is really cool, and the enemies freeze so you can kill them and get chaos energy back easily. Another thing this stage teaches you is that Chaos Dash is something very useful, and the top path is something you should always be aiming for. And that's because the top path is always the fastest in Sonic games usually. Also, this stage has a fire little cutscene where you punch the shit out of a missile and send it back. That's fire! Easily my second favorite stage in the game. Now my third favorite stage, and it's gonna have to go to Kingdom Valley. Kingdom Valley is amazing. I loved Kingdom Valley in the OG 06, and shit, even in P06. That stage is fun as hell to play. And when they bring it back in Shadow Gens, I was like, oh yeah, this stage is amazing. There's so many different ways you can complete the stage, and on top of that, there's so many different paths right in front of your eyes, which I love. As you can tell, I love it when all the paths you can take are right in front of you and you can see it clear as day. One thing I like that Kingdom Valley does better than the other stages is how it uses Doom Blast. There are a lot of enemies you can use here to Doom Blast compared to the other ones, and that's really nice. It makes it where if you get the timing right with Chaos Control on certain enemies, you can freeze them and Doom Blast them to different areas. I really wish other stages used that. It would have made the game way more fun. Now let's move on to my fourth favorite stage, and that one being Sunset Heights. Sunset Heights is a stage they did justice. This stage was actually really cool and one of my favorite enforces, so I'm glad that they brought it back for generations. My one big problem I have with it is I feel like we don't spend enough time in Sunset Heights and we spend more time in Radical Highway. And the Radical Highway part isn't even that bad, it's just like, damn, I want more time in Sunset Heights. And on top of that, there's not many paths you could take in this stage as well. It's like, man, there's not much they're giving you. Very underwhelming stage. And now let's go on to the next one, this one being Radical Highway. Now for my 5th stage, I have Radical Highway Act 1. And I used to think Radical Highway Act 2 was better than this stage, but no, now I just really disagree with that statement. This act is the first act to actually let you use the Doom Wings in 3D. And I would say they did a pretty good job. There aren't much challenges for you in the first act at all, but it's just because you're trying to get used to using the Doom Wings for the first time. Even though Doom Wings is like a super form where you can't get hurt at all, you still have to watch out for your boost meter when you fly, because that thing drains super fast, so you have to make sure you find a route where you get the most coins and you can keep going for the longest distance. And I actually been having a lot of fun doing that. At first I thought I wouldn't, but then later on I realized this is actually fun trying to optimize these routes. For my 6th stage, I have Radical Highway Act 2. This stage utilizes the Doom Wings the best out of any stage so far. But at the same time, they do a lot of bad stuff in this stage I don't like. The biggest thing I dislike being the enemies that you just have to beat up, then run away, they do a big explosion, go back, beat them up, and then you could do blast them to the next area. That is annoying. The only thing I can think of right now for that existing is to make the stage feel longer. Another thing I disliked is these moving platforms out of nowhere. I do not remember seeing this anywhere else in the game till right here. Now on to the final stage on my list, being Rail Canyon. Rail Canyon is a fun stage, right guys? I have my fun time playing it from time to time, but the things that hold this stage back compared to the others is the Radical Highway part and how much time you spend on the damn rails. Listen, I know it's in the name, Rail Canyon, but damn bro, rails in 3D Sonic just aren't hitting anymore, you know? If only they added more like rail switching that you have to do, like they're blocking your path on certain ones, the stage would be more fun, but they don't. And the Radical Highway part, man, I found that boring. You are like skydiving for so much of that Radical Highway portion that I just did not enjoy it at all. And there we go, we covered all the stages in the game. Now here's the last thing we have to talk about in the video, the open hub area. The open hub is really amazing. This is like the best thing we had from an open zone type of area thing. And if this is how it's going to be for Frontiers 2, man, I'm excited. One big issue I had though is Shadow feels super slow in the hub, and I don't like that. All the collectibles in the open hub is fun as hell to get. All the platforming and stuff they make you do, I enjoy. On top of that, this is where you actually learn how to use the abilities as well. This is where they teach you how to use the Doom Surf, this is where they teach you how to use Doom Blast, Doom Spear, and all those other ones. When I compare this open zone to Frontiers, I actually like Shadow Gen's open zone way more than anything in Frontiers. They really took everything Shadow can do and put it in there as perfectly as they can. Like there are sections where you Doom Blast up to this area to get to the boss fight and all that, have to break a wall, and man, it's just so cool. And I pretty much covered everything I wanted to in this video. This game really is the greatest thing that could happen for the Sonic franchise. This brought so much people back into the series, actually, it's insane. I've seen new people watch the movies, play this game, and actually become fans of the Sonic games now. And that's basically me saying I take back what I said in this video. This is not a bad sign at all for the Sonic franchise, this is a good one. Anyway guys, that's been it from Dub. I'll see you guys whenever I drop part 2. Peace.